So it's a blind-on-blind confrontation. Middleton with 5-4 offsuit in the small.
Well, I think this hand's a little too weak to limp the small blind.
He does limp.
Unless we think the big blind is almost never raising.
Luca Fiorini looks at his cards and checks his option.
Fiorini does play pretty tight, but in general, I do prefer a raise there.
It's an 8-7 deuce flop. That's a gut shot for Midi.
We were probably going to bet this flop no matter what, so the fact that we flopped a gutter ball is just bonus.
250,000.
Like to bet.
Fiorini not going anywhere. He calls.
Yeah, now depending on the turn, maybe we just give this up.
The turn card is the king of spades.
This is actually kind of a sweet card to double barrel.
While Middleton slows down, he checks.
Fiorini seems like someone we could have maybe bluffed off if we had bet this turn, unless he's super strong.
He takes over the betting. 430,000.
Okay, so this is when I tap out. Just raise the white flag and fold. Guy doesn't strike me as the type to run big bluffs on scary turn cards, and subsequently not the type to make big folds here. I do not approve of this.
The green and black chips are worth 100,000 each. Tom Middleton check raises to 1,150,000.
Hit the hole is here, and he's having more fun than ever before. He loves the game, and he loves Bryn Kenny.
Fiorini calls.
Okay, yeah, it's not looking good here for the Mormon soldier, or us.
The river is another king, pairing the board.
First of all, I think we're cooked. Second of all, I think this is not a good card to bluff. Third of all, if we were going to run a bluff, I would have preferred bet the turn, bet the river instead of the check raise on the turn.
Middleton has bet 650,000.
Yeah, and bluffing for that amount is like trying to throw a bucket of water on a volcano.
Fiorini calls.
Oop. You win. You win.
Middleton mucks. Fiorini shows ace deuce. He called him down with a pair of deuces.
Wow, that bluff got snapped off like the head of a post-coital praying mantis.
And now we're going to play a hand from Good Vanger's perspective. We're going to sweat with Martin. Queen Jack offsuit. Was this the hand we were discussing yesterday, Joe, which you think is actually like the worst starting hand?
Worst hand of all time.
Right, that's it. Worst hand of all time. That's the moniker that you granted it.
Now the big blind is probably the best place to have it. And I think that a call is perfectly reasonable. A fold would be ridiculous. A raise would be very optimistic. But the bet in the middle was just right.
Good Vanger defends, heads up to the flop, which is king, king, queen.
I think this is a reasonably good flop for us. Like the check, like a check call. And Senator, remember, we've been watching him for the last couple episodes. He's a little wild.
I like his red shirt. 275,000 into 600,000.
Think of all the buckets of vodka Red Bull he's going to buy at Tiger Tiger later.
Interesting. Check raise from Good Vanger.
Well, you know what I'm going to say here, James. I'm going to say that you're going to fold out all the hands that you're beating. You're going to get action from hands that are beating you, but let's think about ways that I might be wrong. What hands will you get action from that you are beating? Jacks, tens, nines. You might get action from some pairs, some hands that don't have a king. It's risky. Do ace 10 and I mean, aces might call you. That's bad. What better hands are you folding? don't think any.
Well,
And I guess other queens you can get action from. Some of the queens, you're getting action from queen 10.
yeah, Seninger has called 4 of spades on the turn, which you can't imagine has changed anything.
Actually, I love Crocodiles. Says in 2020 you get action off ace high, ace 10. It's possible here too. Those are some hands I'm leaving out.
Goodvangen now checks the turn.
Is this a check with intention or a check because you suddenly don't know where you're at?
I would imagine the latter. Seninger checks behind. River card. 5 of clubs.
I have no idea what to do now. This hand's been played very bizarrely. If you check, then you're at the mercy of your opponent.
Well, he has
For them
checked.
to bet big. If you bet, you can get raised.
Oh, loading up and firing the lot. All in for just over 1.4 million.
Dude, I think we're going to be bluffed here sometimes, but I think you have to fold. I just don't know. Like, you did it to yourself. If you were doing this to induce, you should have called already, and if not, you have to fold. I think you can absolutely. We could be getting bluffed here.
Goodvangen calls. Seninger tables. Queens flopped the full house. And you got to feel for Goodvangen here, but I have 2 simple words for you, which you should use here, Martin. Hakuna Matata. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's a worry-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
So it's been folded around to Hussein Ensan on the button. He's got ace 10. Tell you what, Joe, let's play this hand from his perspective. Let's sweat with Hussein.
This guy's in his 50s. Look at the shape he is in. He definitely sweats on the regular.
So he's raised to 16,000. Actions on Jerome Brion in the big blind. And he calls.
I like our hand. I think if we were dominated, there would have been a re-raise. This dude knows we like to go nuts pre-flop.
Well, the flop is King 5-4 with 2 diamonds. Brion checks.
C-bet's fine. Checking's fine.
Ensan checks behind. Jack on the turn. Hussein now has a gut shot straight draw.
So I guess that means we can call a reasonable bet, but much like when your grandma gives you a sweater for your birthday, we'd prefer a check.
Not going to get one. Brion leads for 24,000.
I'd say this is reasonable. Our gut shot is to the nut straight.
Ensan calls. This hand going to the river. It's the King of Diamonds pairing the board. Also puts a potential flush out there.
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think if there's another reasonable bet, we can call. We should call.
With just ace high?
The second king makes it less likely he's got one. There aren't a lot of value bets he can have, and he's going to be bluffing a ton of missed straights.
Into a pot of 92,000. Brion makes it 56,000. Ensan calls.
Come on.
Brion shows 10-9 for a busted straight draw. Ace high is good.
Oh my god, I was right. I totally wasn't expecting that. James, I'm just a huge fan of Hossein Ensan.
We're going to sweat with Steve on this hand and play it from Mr. O'Dwyer's point of view.
Steve O. Sweat your cards.
It's his small blind. Deuce-Four.
Yeah, let's see a flop with these.
He calls. No raise from Roger. He checks his option.
We're probably behind.
Well, Steve flops bottom pair. Plus he has a couple of backdoor draws working for him.
A pair is going to be the best hand most of the time.
He checks the action, and Roger Sipple bets 175,000.
We've got the perfect hand to check call with.
O'Dwyer does call. And just to annoy Joe, I'm going to say that Steve has improved to 2 pair.
Technically, you are not wrong. And we are hoping Roger checks behind, but it doesn't look like he's gonna.
Yeah, looks like another bet's coming.
But the way he's looking so concerned makes me think he could have a monster here.
550,000.
Steve's probably gonna call again. There is a pretty small range of hands Roger could have that are value hands.
Steve does call, and we have a pot of 1.68 million. A 9 on the river. Steve checks for a 3rd time.
Pretty passive line.
I'm all in.
And Roger shoves for 2.2 million. It's an overbet. How does Steve O'Dwyer respond to this?
I'm gonna remind everyone, monster is what I think Roger has here. He is repping a very narrow range, but I think he's got it this time. How often is he bluffing here?
Hero call.
Full house.
Got him.
That is a monster.
I can't beat a full house.
I was hoping you couldn't beat a full house.
Can't beat much of anything, but
This next hand we're going to play from his perspective. That's right, we're going to sweat with Stefan.
Return of the Jed Lich guy. We're gonna use the force.
Ace 7 of clubs. Oh, I can't believe I laughed at that one. He raises to 800,000.
Lots of people can't believe they laughed at that one.
DaCosta defends his big blind.
What? Actually, I don't know. He could have anything.
Ace, King, Jack on the flop. Top pair with a backdoor flush draw.
We are perfectly happy with this flop, and to continuation bet it.
Well, DaCosta's playing in flow. He's checked it to Jedlichka. Stefan does continue. 900,000.
And there are lots of pieces and pairs and draws we can get called by. If we do get called, I'm not too worried about it. Uh-oh.
DaCosta check raises to 2.7 million.
Well, if he's raising for value, there are no hands we're beating. But he could also very well be bluffing, figuring we're not going to be super strong here very often either. Way too easy for him to be semi-bluffing with a queen or a 10 or spades, so we got to call.
Jedlichka does call. This pot's already at 7.1 million. As we head to the turn, which is the Jack of Diamonds pairing the board. Actions on DaCosta. Check raise the flop.
I'd love a check.
Owie.
He bets it all. Jedlichka now with the decision. If he wins this hand, it's over.
I know this is going to sound crazier than an internet comment about contrails, but I really don't see DaCosta overbet shoving with trips or a full house. I kind of like a call here. I think he's going to have a draw a lot. Of course, that's easy for me to say, as it's not for basically my entire tournament, or anything to do with me at all.
Jedlichka gives it up. And he had the best hand. DaCosta had a flush draw and a straight draw.
Still a ridiculously tough call to make.
Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more awesome poker content. And check out this video. The YouTube algorithm seems confident you'll like it.